Morning students. Last class we have seen the asexual method of reproduction and the types of reproduction: natural method, artificial method, bud formation, cutting, grafting, layering. All those things you have seen in your last class. In asexual method there is no fusion of gametes. The male and the female gametes will not fuse together to produce the offspring or the young one. And disadvantages of this method is they are genetically similar. No new method is produced, no new gene, new species is produced. And now we'll move to sexual reproduction. What is sexual reproduction? In sexual reproduction, it involves two steps: the production and the fusion of gametes. Production and the fusion of gametes. Production is nothing but the gametogenesis, and fusion is nothing but the fertilization. Gamete formation, genesis means formation, so gamete formation and fertilization happens in the sexual reproduction. Fertilization is nothing but the fusion of male and the female gametes. The gamete formation involves three steps: isogamy, anisogamy and oogamy. What are the three steps? Isogamy, anisogamy and oogamy. These things happens in the gamete formation. And now we'll take the flower. What is the flower? Flower is described in various dimensions, and it is an inspiration for the poets, we know that, and it is a decorative material for all the celebration. Through the flower we can make perfumes, and the flags of some countries are embedded with flowers. And morphologists, what they tell is the flower is the highly condensed shoot meant for reproduction. Flower forms the shoot system, so it is the highly condensed part. It is a condensed part of the shoot system for reproduction. And we know that the flower possesses four major parts. First one is the calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. In short forms we'll tell. In familiar words it is sepals, petals, and male gamete, female gamete. Androecium is the male gamete, gynoecium is the female gamete. So androecium and gynoecium are involved in the gamete formation, whereas calyx and corolla, they are the helping organs for the gamete formation. That's it about the parts of the flower. And then the process or the changes involved in the sexual reproductions of the higher plants include three stages. This process involves three stages. What are the three stages? One is the pre-fertilization. Number two is the fertilization. Number three is the post-fertilization. Pre-fertilization is nothing but the preparing the gametes formation, and next is the fertilization, where the fusion happens. After fertilization, after fusion, what happens? That is post-fertilization. These are the steps we are going to see. First thing is the pre-fertilization structures. The hormonal and the structural changes of the plant involves the pre-fertilization. The hormonal and the structural changes. What happens during the hormonal changes of the plant? First we'll see the male reproductive organ, that is called androecium. The male reproductive organ is called androecium. You know the parts of the plant because if you want me to draw, I'll draw. See, the calyx, corolla, ovary, and then androecium. The ovary is the gynoecium, and this is the parts of the plant. So what is androecium? What does it contain? Androecium contains many stamens. Androecium contains many stamens. Stamens are nothing but it has got two parts. One is the anther, another is the filament. Stamen has got the anther and the filament. The anthers are bag-like structures. Anthers resemble bag or balloon-like structures. Why is this in this shape? It is in this shape because to hold the anther, pollen grains. to hold the pollen grains. They are in the bag-like structures or balloon-like structures. The filament are nothing but the stalk. They are nothing but the stalk to hold the anther. So first thing is male reproductive organ. What is there in the male reproductive organ? Male reproductive organ contains many stamens. The stamens are nothing but it contains anther and filament. Now, first step we should understood is microsporogenesis. In this pre-fertilization process, you should know the word microsporogenesis. What is microsporogenesis? Genesis means formation or development of gametes. Here, microspore is similar to anther. Microspore is nothing but, not similar, microspore is nothing but the anther. The anther formation. The microspore is nothing but the formation of anther. Here, the diploid nature mother cell undergoes meiotic division and give rise to 4 haploid cells, daughter cells. What happens in microsporogenesis? Diploid mother cell undergoes meiotic division and give rise to 4 haploid daughter cells. That's the thing that is happening in the microsporogenesis. I told you microsporogenesis is what? That is nothing but the formation of microspore. Microspores are formed. That is known as microspores are formed in the microsporangia. That is called as microsporogenesis. That is nothing but the anther formation. And I told you meiotic division. What is meiotic division? You might have learned in your earlier classes. Meiotic is nothing but the division that is taking place in the gametes, and mitotic division that happens in the other parts of the plant. Meiotic happens only in the gametes. Here, the meiotic division is the third type of division that occurs only in the gametes. And after going to the microsporangia, now you know what is microsporogenesis and what is microspore. If anyone asks any question, you should be able to answer what is microspore. Microspores are nothing but the anther. And what happens? The diploid cells divides through meiotic division and give rise to 4 haploid cells. Now we'll move to the pollinium. What is pollinium? Pollinium is nothing but the microspores, they held together with the microsporangium and forms pollinium. The microspore held together, that is attached together, they remain intact together with the microsporangium. Microspore is held together or attached together with the microsporangium. And this pollinia is attached to the clip or clamp like structure, sticky structure. This pollinia is attached to the clip or a sticky structure that is called as corpusculum. The name is given as corpusculum. Pollinia attached to the sticky or a clamp like clip or a clamp like structure that is sticky in nature, that is called as corpusculum. Pollinia attached to the clamp or a clip like structure is called corpusculum. The filaments or the thread that is arising from the pollinia is called as retinaculum. The filament or the thread that is arising from the pollinia is retinaculum. The whole structure is like the inverted Y, and it is called as translator. The whole structure resembles inverted Y and it is called as translator. And then this thing you will be seeing in your dissection of Calotropis. Calotropis is nothing but the plant you will be knowing in your areas, that is Erukanchedi. You have to dissect this type of plant. Okay. And after seeing this, now we have seen the andrecium, microspore, what is pollinium, what is pollinia, retinaculum, corpusculum and translator. These things you might have known now. And we'll move to the next part, that is called as the TS of mature anther. What is mature? Mature means it has attained its age for development of anther. Mature means grown. So the TS is nothing but the transverse section of anther. What is there? What is seen in that transverse section? There are 3 parts, 3 major parts, and again it is subdivided. The first part is the anther wall. The anther wall, anther cavity and the connective. Anther, the TS of anther consists of anther wall, anther cavity and connective. Okay. This question you will be having for 5 marks. So read thoroughly. Next one is the TS of anther. If you cut open and see, if you do the transverse section of the anther, you will see a butterfly shape. You can see butterfly shape. You can draw in this way. Think of the butterfly and draw this manner. And in this anther wall, we have got 4 layers. What are the 4 layers? The first one is the epidermis. The second one is the endothecium. The middle layer, then tapetum. I repeat, from the outer to inner. I am telling from outer to inner. The first most layer is the epidermis, and the next inner layer is the endothecius. Then middle layer, tapetum. From inner to outer, it is tapetum, middle layer, endothecium, and epidermis. And from the name itself, it is very clear. Epi means outer, dermis, skin. This you might have learned in your 11th standard. What is the nature of epidermis? They are parenchymal cells, and they are barrel-shaped cells. They are single layered. They are single layered, barrel-shaped parenchyma cells with no intercellular spaces. Between the cell, there is no space. They are very tightly packed. That is called the epidermis. And then next we will move to endothecium. Endo means inner. This inner endothecium consists of elongated cells. Elongated cells, and these cells are thickened with the alpha cellulose. Most of the plants, it is thickened with the alpha cellulose. Not all the plants, but most of the cells, the cell wall is lignified. And each cell is uninucleated, and all the cells are nucleated. Next we will move to middle layer. Middle layer is nothing but the endothecium, 2 to 3 layers of endothecium layer. They are generally ephemeral. And one more thing, when after this maturity, this middle layer disintegrate or get crushed. So they are not in use after maturity. After the maturity, the middle layer will get disintegrated. Disintegrated means degraded. It will break down or it gets crushed. And we'll move to tapetum. Tapetum is the innermost layer, the most inner layer, the innermost layer. What is the use of the tapetum? It provides nourishment, nutritive to the mature cells and also for the mother cell. And what is the work of the tapetum? It provides nourishment to the sporogenous tissue, the microspore, the microspore and the mother cell. Sporogenous tissue, microspore and the mother cell. They may be uninucleated or it may contain more nucleus, and they remain uninucleated or it might be more cells, might contain more cells. It also contributes to the wall formation. Wall formation, what is that? It provides sporopollenin, pollen kit, tryphine and number of proteins. These things it will provide. And tapetum also controls the fertility or sterility. The fertility of the plants depends only on the tapetum. Next, we have got 2 types of tapetum. One is the secretory tapetum and one other is the invasive tapetum. Secretory tapetum can be parietal, glandular or cellular. The tapetum retains the original position and nourishes the microspore. It will retain the original position and nourishes the microspore in secretory. In invasive, it is periplasmodial. It will lose the tangential and radial walls and it forms periplasmodium. It will lose the walls and forms periplasmodium. That's all about the tapetum. So then you should know its function. What is the function? The main function is, I told you, it provides nourishment and also wall formation. It provides the proteins like sporopollen and pollen kit. Okay, we'll see the point one by points. It supplies nutrition to the microspore, first point. And then it contributes sporopollen through Ubish bodies. This plays an important role in the formation of the pollen walls. And then the pollen kit material is contributed by the tapetal cells and is later transferred to pollen surface. The pollen wall is later again transferred to the pollen surface. The exine proteins responsible for the rejection reaction of the stigma are present in the cavities of the exine. These proteins also derived from the tapetum. Okay, so what is tapetum? These are the innermost layer and it provides nourishment. Nourishment to sporogenous cell, mother cell and the microspore. It might be uninucleated or multinucleated, and also it controls the fertility and sterility. They provide proteins, a number of proteins like sporopollenin, pollenin kit and tryphin. Okay. And this tapetum also controls fertility and sterility of the plant. It is of two types. One is secretory and other is the invasive. These are things you should know about the tapetum. And next is the anther cavity. The second TS section is, first is anther wall. We have seen the four layers. We have discussed about the 4 layers. Next is the anther cavity. This anther cavity is filled with microspores in the young ones. In the young ones, in young stages, it is filled with microspores or with the pollen grains in the maturity. After maturity, these microspores will be transferred to pollen grains. In young stage, it stores microspores. In the matured stage, it stores pollen grains. The meiotic division of the microspore mother cell give rise to microspores which are haploid in nature. This we have seen in the microsporogenesis. Then next comes the connective. Connective is nothing but the sterile tissues that are surrounded by the anther lobe. The connective is nothing but what? The connective tissues. It also contributes to the inner tapetum. Next we'll move to the pollen grains. What is the structure of the pollen grains and what is pollen grains? If I tell pollen grains, you might have think of the powdery nature. Yes, the yellow color. The immediate product of the meiosis division of the mother cell is the pollen grain or the microspore. What is that? The immediate product after the meiotic division is mother cell is give rise to pollen grains. It differs in each plant. The shape of the pollen grains will differ from one plant to another. It might be of 4 different shapes. So what are the shapes? It might be globose, ellipsoid, fusiform or lobed. The shape of the pollen grains may be globose, fusiform, ellipsoid and then lobed. Or angular or crescent shape like the moon. So there are different types of shapes of the pollen grains. It might be globose, ellipsoid, fusiform, lobed or angular or crescent shape. The size of the pollen grains varies from 2 microns, 20 microns to 10 microns to 200 microns. 10 microns are seen in the smallest plants. 10 microns are mostly seen in the smallest plants, whereas like Myosotis, whereas the 200 microns is the biggest pollen grain that is seen in the family Cucurbitaceae. Cucurbitaceae family you might have seen in your last year, and also you have seen the vascular bundle. This type of vascular bundle seen only in the bicollated vascular bundle is seen only in Cucurbitaceae family. And then the name Cucurbitaceae is nothing but the Pusinicae. Then the pollen grains, after formation, it forms a thick protoplast is formed. It has got 2 layers. What are the 2 layers? One is called the exine and other is called the intine. Before that, the study of pollen grains is called as palynology. The study of pollen grains is nothing but the palynology. These things you should know. These are given in the facts. And then bee pollen. What is bee pollen? It is a natural substance. What happens? You might have learned in your previous classes how the honey is formed. The bees that will suck the nectar from the plant and it is taken to the throat. Then in the stomach, an enzyme reacts on it and it forms the honey. The bee pollen, the nectar that is taken by the bees has also contained pollen grains along with them. This is has got very health benefits. When many doctors suggest to eat this bee pollen. So bee pollen is a dietary supplement and it is also given in the form of tablets and syrups. It increases the performance of athletes. Mostly athletes will take this bee pollen, and race horses, and also for the heals the wounds like burns. If anyone got wound or a burns, if you apply this bee pollen, it will be cured easily. The study of the honey pollen is called as melitopalynology. The study of pollen grains is palynology. The study of the honey pollen, the honey containing that pollen is called as melitopalynology. These things you should note as an extra points. Then pollen calendar. This shows the production of the pollen by during the different season. In this season it can produce this thing, and some season you might get allergies during the cold season because the pollen grains they are produced more in that season. If anyone smells or breathes that if the pollen grains enters into the body, it will produce allergies. This is also commonly called carrot grass. This type of disease is also caused, and pollen grains of this plant will cause allergy. In exine, what is exine and entine? Now we'll move to the structure of the development of the male gamete. What happens? It is the first cell of the male gamete and it is in the form of haploid. I told you the mother cell divides and gives 4 haploid cells. So it is of haploid, means 1. The development of the male gamete takes place while they are still in the microsporangium. When it is in the microsporangium itself, the development takes place. The nucleus of the microspore. This microspore divides into vegetative and generative nucleus. 2 division. You can see in the form. See, it will undergoes 2 division. And the shape is also irregular. The bigger one at the top and the smaller one in the bottom. Bigger one is for the vegetative and next is the smaller one is for the generative. Because vegetative cell is the whole body, but the gamete formation involves only two parts. The wall is laid around the generative nucleus. Formation of 2 unequal cells. I showed you the picture. They are very unequal and irregular nucleus. At this 2 cell stage, the pollens are liberated from the anther. Liberated means they are transferred from the anther. And in some plants, it undergoes a division to form again 2 male gametes. The pollen is liberated at the 3rd stage in some cells. Further, the growth of the male gamete occurs only if the pollen reaches the right stigma. When does the pollen grains growth correct pollen will occur? Only when it reaches the right stigma. The pollen on reaching the stigma absorbs the moisture. Moisture means water, and gets swells. After swelling, it ruptures and releases the pollen. If the pollen reaches the pollen tube before reaching the embryo sac, in case the pollen is liberated at 2nd cell stage, the generative cells divided into 2 males after reaching the sperms, after reaching the stigma or in the pollen tube before reaching the embryo sac. The intine grows an pollen tube through the germ pore. Through the germ pore, it develops a pollen tube. The stages involved is given in the picture. You can see the picture how it is liberated. If you see the picture, it will be very easy for you to understand. So the pollen grains has got 2 layers. One is the intine and the exine. Exine is the outer layer and it is of thick and uneven in nature, whereas the inine is the thinnest wall, elastic and flexible, and it is called germ pores through which the germination occurs. That's all about the male gamete formation. Now we know what is androecium. Androecium contains stamens. Stamens is nothing but the anther and the filament, and how it undergoes meiotic division. What is that called? That process is called microsporogenesis. And then what is pollinium? After that we move to the anther cavity, anther wall. Anther wall contains 4 layers. What are the layers and what are the uses of the layers? And tapetum, the uses of tapetum, and the 2 types of tapetum, secretory and the invative, the functions of the tapetum, and what is anther cavity, what does it contain? In younger stage it contains the microspore, and in the mature state it contains the pollen grains. Then the connective is a sterile tissue, and then is a pollen grains. Pollen grains, we study what is study of pollen grains is called palynology, and honey pollen is called as melitopollinology. What are the uses of bee pollen? It is used as a medicine to cure the wounds, and also for athletes they can drink this bee pollen. And sometimes some season they cause allergy. These things you should know. And then the exine and the intine structure of the pollen and how it is passing out, how it is liberated. After getting the moisture, it swells up and bursts out the pollen. Then the pollen reaches the female gamete. That's it, children. That's it about the male gamete. Next we'll see about the female gamete in the next class. Thank you.